Great. Well, I know, Robin, will you share out loud the ideas that you're bringing?
I'm not sure when we're going to vote on sex education, but as part of that, I would like us to set up, with Planned Parenthood, the parents' education class, so that at the same time when we're teaching the sex ed, right before that, the parents get some education so that school and home are aligned. And I talked to the ladies and they said that would be possible to have either train the trainers or have them come and do parent ed for the sex ed.
Okay. And we'd have to adopt a curriculum before that, so.
And what we will do is, as the board gives us that input on the blue sheet, in terms of, I mean, the biggest question is really the type of curriculum. Abstinence only, abstinence-based, abstinence plus, comprehensive. Getting some direction on that from the board, that's probably the big question.
Yep.
Once we have that, we can move forward and talk about training pieces, whether it be training of staff, training of parents, and we can include that in the process.
Okay. Well, I wanted to make a clarification because earlier I had suggested we fill out our input and submit it to Hilda, and Hilda could submit it to curriculum and instruction. I think the most appropriate use of our time would be to submit those ideas still to Hilda, but before we give it to curriculum instruction, we need to call for an advisory committee per our policy, which I looked up when we were receiving this. And at that time, in open meeting, we could share what some of these ideas were, and so Hilda could help compile those and bring up the top goals of the board members.
And at that meeting, it would be part of our ability to give parameters to that committee.
So I wanted to just take what Robin was saying, and before we get to the parent piece, which I think is important, we actually need to have curriculum. And
right.
Before we get to curriculum, we need to, as a board, call for an advisory committee to form. And we need to give them direction on what we want them to give us advice on. So at that meeting, we would be able to give those, you call them parameters, I call them goals, like this is what you're charged with, and these are the dates that you'll meet, and then you'll bring back some information to us.
Would the board at that time instruct the committee, the advisory committee, that we want to go abstinence only, abstinence plus? At that point, I don't know, there's 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Would the board vote on deciding which one we want to go with? I'm just kind of confused in that part. You know, we need to decide which one we want to go with at some point. Would we decide at that point when we make the advisory committee which one we want to go with, or
yes.
Before that?
Yes, we would make that at that meeting when we form the committee.
It would clearly be helpful to the direction of the committee.
Well, yeah, they would vote around in the dark.
And they'd bring back something
that we're
you
not,
may
like they brought us this time and we never told them what we wanted. So yes, I think that would be appropriate.
And it would be like a 2-part agenda item probably, where you would probably first decide what you guys want on it, and then the next
set up a committee.
Would be to approve an advisory committee.
Okay. Okay.
And then once we get that going, we can definitely submit that so we have a place marker to ensure that our curriculum for parents is aligned.
Do you want to give a date for this?
I don't have a calendar in front of me.
There's a calendar in there, in the pink, under future agenda item.
It's very bright.
Very bright pink.
More like fuchsia.
Is there a possibility if we get this done, we can implement it next school year?
I would suggest that it depends on what you tell us. And there are certain programs that align to certain, there are certain materials and programs that align to certain options that Michelle presented.
Like
that are
Flash?
already full formed, like Flash. and there are others that are not full form that would take a lot more work to
Mhm.
get in place. So it just depends on if you say abstinence only versus abstinence-based versus comprehensive, what options the committee would have in terms of looking at materials.
It's kind of funny that you're talking about sex ed.
But it would be great if we could get it into place.
I think of Queen singing Flash. That movie.
Get out your.
It would be great if we could have it in place for next year.
I'm sorry, Flash is free, it's
Yeah, March
Planned
6th.
Parenthood
So
advised.
we do before March 6th.
Yeah.
Tiffany's.
Okay, also, the naming policy revision, I like the idea that everybody gives 4 ideas
For priorities.
or priorities. However, if we review it in public, like we review letters, I will pitch this. We are not gonna do that to ourselves or the public.
What do you
You
mean?
need the editing?
What, editing things.
Oh,
because
yeah,
it hits-
no, just we want to
okay.
get the concepts out.
Okay, good, because this editing in public sucks. It's embarrassing and it goes on forever and it doesn't need to be done.
And no one's ever happy.
Yeah.
And no one's ever happy.
Okay,
Here's
so
my 2.
So we're gonna look at the Health and Human Development, forming a committee on March 6th, naming facilities. I think we can do it at the same time.
Let's do it. March 6th.
We have a session March 6th.
It's,
We have a bunch
part
of,
of- it's part of the evaluation of the superintendent. Remember, there was a December,
I know.
Yeah.
let's remember that Alamo on March 6th.
Yep.
what is,
Did you have any other items?
Said
No, Alamo.
Okay, I had one last item to add. I'd like to get the surveys that we're using to collect data on job satisfaction, like to get those results. And I don't think we need to put that in a meeting just yet, but for board bulletin, so we can review that and decide how best to proceed from there.
so are you talking about the survey that's coming out with Meeting Confer, or are you talking about the
So Pam Burkhart said that that there were various surveys used to look at when she was talking about retention and
Oh,
all that kind of stuff. I asked about job satisfaction. She said there were multiple surveys used and different data to share.
The effectiveness survey?
Did you do that too?
Yep.
I think we
It's like
have,
that's
we
right.
do have an effectiveness
Pieces.
survey that's done at the end of the year. I
So,
think we call it.
If we can look at what we've had in the past, is fine.
Yeah, I know, you just want to consider not the necessarily any results.
Not yet. Yeah, I want to see what tools we're using, how we're gathering data, and just in board bulletin to start.
so we can talk to Pam to see with information on what exactly she's talking about. We have that staff development survey going on, but it's sent to go out in 2 weeks, and there's like a 2-week window there, but that has to do with staff development. The CEA and, well, the Meeting Conversion also has a survey going on, but has went out, but that's just a little different. That really doesn't give any information on job satisfaction.
Specifically for working conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see where we're at, and then this is an important issue to me, so I'm sure I'll bring it for discussion.
Sure. So we'll check with Pam Burkhart to Jim, Dr. Button, just give them information there for the board.
All right. Well, I think we'll call this meeting to an end. We don't need a motion or anything. So have a great day. Thank you all.
I'm a little bit out.
Finance.